crowd, thank you for coming and for making this part of Nunawading one of the best streets to live in. To the bidders in the crowd, thank you for coming, and I wish you all the best in the bidding procedure. And to the one lucky buyer, we congratulate you in advance on your astute purchase. This auction will be conducted in accordance with the rules and any additional conditions that were made available before the commencement of the auction. As auctioneer, I'll be indicating bidders upon request and the right to place bids on behalf of the sellers, otherwise known as vendor bids. If or when I decide to place those bids, I'll simply say vendor bid. This auction prohibits false bids, prohibits major disruptions by bidders attempting to prevent others from bidding, and provides fines for misconduct. And last but not least, when this paperwork hits my hand and this property is deemed sold, I'll absolutely take no late bids and offers beyond that point. If you're successful here today, all that I require from you is a little 10% deposit of the full purchase price. Settlement time, you pick the time frame that suits you best. But the sellers have been quite flexible here today, anywhere within the vicinity of 30 through to 60 days, unless prior arrangements have been made with you beforehand. In the instance where you're bidding against vendor bids, you have two options. Do not bid against the highest vendor bid, which means that you'll decrease your chances of being successful here today, as we'll get to negotiate with multiple parties afterwards. On the positive flip side, however, is that if you do bid against the highest vendor bid, you'll earn yourself the exclusive right to negotiate with the sellers, and statistically speaking, you'll increase your chances of being successful here today. Now, ladies and gentlemen, you've all been through this beautiful home before. 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom unit with a car space in front of the house as well. Inside, ladies and gentlemen, you're welcomed in by floorboards, carpets in the bedrooms as well. Beautiful home ready for you and your family to enjoy. Whether you're looking to buy as a first-time buyer, investment, renovation job, here's your chance to secure your slice of Nunawading, ladies and gentlemen, with ducted heating, air conditioning throughout. Rental income of about $470 to $530 per week. You've got public transport options, buses just out the road here, Nunawading train station, also within close proximity, schools, 500 metres away, you've got Mount Pleasant Road, Nunawading Primary School as well. You've got Mitcham Shopping Centre, Nunawading Shops, Box Hill Central, Blackburn Shops, and the list goes on. And of course, you've got Mitcham Private Hospital as well within close proximity. Enough from me, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sure you're not here to hear me talk, and you've done your due diligence on this home here today. So where can I see a fair and reasonable start today, ladies and gentlemen? Opening bidder here today will get a free bottle of champagne, ladies and gentlemen. So I'm in your hands. Who would like to kick me off here today? Opening bid, opening offer now. What do you say? Any bid offer at all now, ladies and gentlemen? We've been quoting the property between $500 to $530. That's our indicative selling price, ladies and gentlemen. I'm in your hands. Laurie? Start, man. Any bidder offer at all now? Hank, what do you say? I'm going to start us off. Register for the auction. Welcome to the bidder here, sir. $500,000. At $500,000, we weren't going to take $300,000, sir, but $500,000. Welcome to the bidding here, sir. $500,000, bottle of champagne goes to you. At $500,000 here on my left-hand side, and I wish you all the best in the bidding procedure here today. At $500,000 on my left. At $500,000 here on my left-hand side. 510. Welcome to the bidding here now. 510 with Jerry. At $510,000. Bids back against you, Jim. What do you say? At $510. Can I see 520? See you back in front, sir. What do you say? At $510,000 here with Jerry, and we're chipping away in $10,000 increments at the moment. At $510. At $510,000 now, guys. I'm in your hands. At $510,000. As I mentioned before, I can't put in vendor bids. I'd much rather see something from the crowd here, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm sure you would too as well. At $510,000. At $510,000 now, I'm going to call it 3 times. And prevent miss out buys at $510,000. Standing next to Jerry here now at $510,000. First call now, $510. 510.20. Welcome to the bidding here now. $520,000. Standing next to the bidder here. We've got 3 bidders involved here at $520,000. At $520,000 here on my right, next to Kabinda at $520. At $520 now, bids back against you, Jerry. Jim, what do you say? $520 here on my right. At $520. How about you guys, ladies and gentlemen, at $520? Sure. At $520,000 here on my right-hand side. You've been to multiple open for inspections. from Box Hill North, Mitcham. Now here we're in Nunawading. Hopefully you buy here today at $520,000 at the moment. At $520,000 now, going to call it 3 times. First call now at $520,000. Second opportunity here now at $520,000. Third and final call now at $520,000. Triple O, all done. Finished. 525. Welcome to being here, sir, at $525,000. 4 bidders involved. 530 now, back in front. 530. 535. Thank you, sir. 535. Bids back against you here, Jenny. What do you say? 540. 545 here. Gentlemen's in front at 540. 550. We're on the market and selling for no better bidding here today. 555 here on the right hand side. 555. Bids back against you, ma'am. 60 now, back in front. 560 at $560,000. Bids back against you, sir, at 560 now. Need to know at $560,000. We're playing for keeps. No better bidding here today at $560,000. They'll be walking away with the keys here today at $560,000. If there's no further bidding and rises here at $560,000. 565. Welcome back in front, sir. We've missed you at 565. 70 back in front here at 570 here with the binder at $570,000 here in front at 570 now. At $570,000, can I see 75 or perhaps 80 to get you in front here at $570,000 now. At 570. At $2,500,000 splitting it here now down the middle at 5725. 75 back in front here, another 2.5. Another $2,500 increment here with the binder at 575. At $575,000 here in front at 575. At $575,000. Sorry? 576 $1,000 here, bids back into you. 77 back in front. 77 now. What do you say, Jerry? At 577. At $577,000. Sure, sir. Don't miss out for $1,000 here today. At 577. At $577,000 now. At 577 triple O. At $577,000 here in front with Tabinda here at 577. Any further bids or increments here now, ladies and gentlemen? 500. Take the 500, sir. 575, 500. At 575, 500. 78 now, 578. At 578 here on my right hand side, 578. At $578,000 now, can we see 80, sir? 500. Another 500 now, 78 and a half. At 78 and a half here with Jerry at 578 and a half. At 580. 580 now, back in front, good bidding here at 580. At 580 triple O. At $580,000 now, sir, test the bid. You don't know, maybe the next $500 bid could buy you this property here today at 570, 580, at 580 here, at 580 with the binder, at $580,000 here on my right. Ladies and gentlemen, need to know, at $580,000 now, at 580, 580 and a half, 580 and a half here on my left, at 580 and a half. 82 back in front at 582 at $582,000 here with Tabinda at 582 at $582,000 now at 582 on my right at 582 582 and a half 82 and a half now. What do you say, Tabinda? At 585 back in front, 585 at $585,000 here in front at 585. Where are you going to find another 500? Another 500, 585 and a half here on the left hand side at 585 and a half at 585,500 586. Bit slowing down. Another 586 and a half 86 and a half here on the left 86 787 587 at 587 at $587,000 here with the binder at 587 at $587,000 now. Need to know buys 587 at $587,000. 588, good bidding here. Lucky number 888 here now. 588 at $588,000 here on the left. 588. 590. Thank you, ma'am. Rounding us up to 590 here. At 590. At $590,000 here on the right hand side. Sir, what do you say? Perhaps go straight to 600. Could be the knockout offer that we're looking for at $590,000 here on my right hand side. At 590 now. At $590,000 now, buyers need to know. 590, prepare to miss out, sir. At $590,000 $590,000 now. First call now at $590,000. Second opportunity here now at $590,000. Third and final call now. 591 back in front. We've missed you here, sir, at 591. At 591. At 592 back in front. 592. 592. 592 and a half now. Another $500 increment here has come out at 592 and a half. At 592 and a half here with Grainy. 595 good bidding here now. 595 at 595 at 595 now. Grainy, what do you say? 595 here on the left at $595,000 here on the left hand side. 595 at the moment at $595,000 now. Going to call it 3 times. First call now at 595. Second opportunity here now at $595,000. Third and final call now. 500, 595 and a half. At 595 and a half here with Grainy here at 595 and a half. At 595 and a half now. 96 back in front here at 596. At 596. At 596. 600 bang. That 600 bang could be that knockout offer that we're looking for. At 600 here. At 600, gentlemen's offer here now at $600,000. That could have been their limit as well, sir, at $600,000. Test the bid, don't miss out now. At $600,000 with Jerry. At 601. 601 here with the bidder. At 601. At $601,000 now, Jerry. What do you say, Grainy? Need to know. At $601,000. At 601. Could be the winning bid here. At $601,000 at the moment. Here with the bidder at 601. At $601,000 now, need to know. At 601 now, going to call it 3 times. First call now at 601. Second opportunity now at $601,000. Third and final call now at 601. 605, good bidding here now at 605. At $605,000 here on the left. At 605, flexing the auction muscles here at 605. At $605,000 now. Laurie, what do you say? 605, are you sure? At 605, Jenny, what do you say? 605, at $605,000 here on the left hand side. Looks like you've defeated one purchaser here, sir, at 605. Another $1,000, 606. They're back in front here at 606. At $606,000, very close race here at the moment at 606. At $606,000 now. Any further bids here, sir? At 606. At $606,000 now. 606. Let's try 10, sir. What do you say? At 606. At $606,000 now. Bids are slowing down here. At 606. At $606,000 now. In, out, need to know, sir. 606. 500, 606 and a half. At 606 and a half here on the left hand side. 606 and a half. At 606. Another 500, 607. Here in front at 607, at $607,000 here, 607. Think about this location, very convenient. Public transport options just out the road here at 608, at $608,000. Lucky number 8. 500, 608 and a half. At 608, 500 here with Tavinda at 608, 500. At 608, 500 here with Tavinda at 608 and a half. At 608 and a half now here, front and center, sir. Are you sure? At $608,000, 500 here, front and center. They were shaking their heads before as well, and you're shaking your head. Are you sure, sir? 608 and a half. At 608, 500. Another $500 bid to buy you this property and put an end to your property search journey, sir. No more open for inspection. At 608, 500 at the moment. At 608, 500. Need to know by 608 and a half. At 608, 500. First call now at 608, 500. Second opportunity now at 608, 500. Third and final call now, 608 and a half now. Sir, need to know any further interest or increments here now at 608 and a half now. Prepare to miss out. Any further interest here now, 608 and a half. Thank you. At 608 and a half. At 608 and a half here, holding the bid. At 608 and a half. At 608 and a half now, sir. No pressure, but all eyes on you here now at 608 and a half. At 608 and a half now. Let's try another bid, sir. Don't miss out now. Late stages of the auction here now. The other buyers have all said they're out. 608 and a half. It's just between the two of you here now at 608 and a half.
6088.
6088, 608, 800, 608, 800 now, saving the auction here at 608, 800. That's 610 now, good bidding here at 610. That's $610,000 worth of bidding here now at 610. That's $610,000 now, sir, what do you say? At 610. That's $610,000 now. Need to know buyers at 610. At 610. That's $610,000 now. 610. 610 here on my right. At 610. That's $610,000 now. Conversation being had here. They're making their minds up here at 610. That's $610,000 now, sir. Need to know any further interest or increments at 610 now. First call now at 610. Second opportunity now. Is that a one?
500.
500, 610 and a half. 610 and a half here, gentlemen's offer here at 610 and a half. 611, 611 here with Laurie here at 611. That's $611,000 back in front at 611. At 611. Another 500 here, 611 and a half. 611 and a half here under the tree here, ladies and gentlemen. At 612 here, 612. Buyers standing next to each other at 612. That's $612,000 with the binder at 612. That's $612,000 now. Let's put in a knockout bid, sir. The 500s don't seem to be working. My suggestion might be to go 615 or go straight to 620. At 612. 15, good bidding here. Thank you for listening to the auction here. At 615. At 615. 16 back in front here at 616. At 616 here on my right hand side at 616. That's $616,000 here with the binder at 616. At 616 triple O here on my right hand side at 616.
500.
500 here, 616 and a half. That's 616 and a half here on my left hand side at 616 and a half. That's 616 and a half now, Jenny, what do you say? That's 616 and a half, let's go straight to 620. 18, good bidding here now at 618. At 618 here.
500.
500, 618 and a half. Perhaps go straight to 620 here. 620 now, good bidding here at 620 on the right. That's $620,000 here on the right hand side at 620 now. That's $620,000 now on the right hand side at 620. At 620. That's $620,000 now. Sir, any further interest or increments here now? Don't get stuck at 620. That's $620,000 now. Can I see another bid from you, sir? Otherwise, we'll have to sell the property to the highest bidder here at $620,000. You'll be back onto the marketplace, going to more open for inspections. At $620,000. At 620. At $620,000 now. Need to know, I'm going to call 3 times, sir. Give you 10 seconds to change your mind at $620,000 now. First call now at $620,000. Second opportunity now at $620,000. Third and final call now at $620,000. All done? Finished? 500 here, 620 and a half. You saw at 620 and a half. 620 and a half now. You saw how long it took for them to get the last bid here at 620, 500. Take the 100, 620, 620, 600, at 620, 600 here. At 620, 600, we ain't going any lower than that though. At 620, 600. At 620, 600 here on my right hand side. At 620, 600. At 620, 600 here on my right hand side. 800 here at 620, 800. 620, 800. 620, 800 here. At 620, 800, round us up to 21 perhaps. Or even higher. At 620, 621. 621 here. At 621. That's $621,000 here with the binder. At 621. At 621. At 621 at the moment. At 621. 621, sir. Any further interest on your 621? 500, 621 and a half. 621 and a half now, going back up in 500s at the moment. 621 and a half. That's 621 and a half here at the moment. 621 and a half. That's 621. 22. 622 now. That's 622, sir. What do you say? 622. That's $622,000 here.
500.
Another 500. 622 and a half. That's 622 and a half now. Sure, Jenny, at 622 and a half. Perhaps round this up to 630 if you want at 622 and a half. That's 622 and a half here in front with Grainy at 622 and a half. That's 622, 500.
600.
Let's go 500. Let's go 500, Jenny. What do you say? At 622, 600. At 622, 600 here on the right hand side. Bids back against you, sir. 622, 600.
200.
200, 622, 800 here now. 622, 800. At 622, 800 now. Everyone's searching their wallets for the next $100 or $200 here. 622, 800 here. At 622, 800 at the moment. Any further bids or increments at 622, 800? Thank you. You sure? You've been with me since the beginning. Hate for you to miss out now. 622, 800. We're going to be selling away on this specific figure. 622, 800.
623.
623, thank you, Laurie, at 623. That's $623,000 now, saving the auction here at 623. That's $623,000 here on the right at 623. That's $623,000 now. So, what do you say? 623. 500 now, 623 and a half. That's 623 and a half here, back in front. That's 623 and a half. 623 and a half. At 623 and a half thousand, yeah, 623, $500 now. First call now at $623,500. Second call now at 623, 500. Third and final call now at $623,500. All done, finished, silent. $623,500. Here on my left hand side, no further increments or advances. We'll be selling away to the highest bidder here now at $623,500. All done. Thank you. Thank you. Looks like we've found a new purchaser here now. Get ready to celebrate. Get ready to miss out now on the bidders at $623,500 now. 600, another $100 here, saving the auction at 623, 600 at the moment. 623, 800, 623, 800. That's 623, 800 here on my left hand side with Grainy at 623, 800. Sure? 623. Thank you, Laurie. At 623, 800. Hopefully, we can find you another property at 623, $800 here now. Well played, sir. Well bidded at 623, 800. First, second, third and final call, $623,800. On behalf of the team at CHN Real Estate, this property is selling. This property is selling. Put your hands together to the new purchasers. This property is sold. Congratulations. Commiserations to the bidders. Congratulations to our vendors. Thank you for attending another CHN auction.